Welcome to today's live webinar, Murder in the Stacks, hosting a murder mystery game. This webinar is being presented by Kayla Landenberger from the Greene County Public Library, and we are so thankful and happy to have Kayla with us today. Also, before we begin, we'd like to recognize that KDLA is supported by the Library Sciences and Technology Act, LSTA, and we thank the Institute of Museum and Library Services, IMLS, for its sponsorship. All right, I will open up Kayla's first slide here and we will take it away.
All right, thank you, Ms. Tricia. I appreciate it. Hello, everybody. I have started in programming here a couple of years ago. I've actually been with the library for about 17 years, and I've kind of held many different hats. I've been from just a student worker to cataloging to outreach, and now I'm doing programs. So it's kind of been of a span of different things. I've always been in programs, though, mostly. But I started doing murder mystery dinners about a year or so ago. And I've been wanting to do it even before pre-COVID, and it fell through, of course, when COVID hit and didn't get to do it. So, of course, when things started kind of getting semi back to normal, I thought, okay, it'd be a good time to maybe start doing a soft one, I should call it, I guess, more or less. And so I did one for a date night. And for, either for friends or, just do a friends night or a date night for couples. So I did a Valentine's Day one, and it went over well. Of course, with any kind of program, you always have some kind of things that might happen, and you have to tweak it a little bit. But the more I've done now, it's kind of came out pretty smoothly, and they're well attended. So I thought I would present on that. At one point, I did it at the KPLA conference last year, and I thought, well, because when you get burnt out on certain programs, you do the same thing over and over, and you want to do something different. And I thought for us here at our library, we're a very rural, small library, and we needed something different. So that's why I kind of went with the murder mysteries. But what is a murder mystery? If you've never done them, they're not hard to do. It just takes a little bit of time and work to put it together, but it's not so stressful. But really, it's just good old detective work that gets people interacting. You can develop partnerships, and it's just a good time, just a good laugh, really, just for people to come to your library and enjoy and see what you have to offer, really. But they're pretty successful, so I really am pleased with how they have turned out. So why would you have a murder mystery, really? Well, one, it's really entertaining, not only for you as a host, but for all of the participants, really, because you see, sometimes you may be a shy person, and like I've had several that say, oh, I'm not into that kind of thing. But once they get into acting as a character, they realize, oh, this is actually kind of fun. So it kind of brings out a side of people that you wouldn't think they would do, like they would be acting like. But it's just kind of a good thing. But it's very versatile. You can do this with your teens. You can do this even with kind of smaller children. There is some kits out there that you can do with like tweens even. But of course, any age of adult. And of course, it kind of promotes community involvement. You can develop relationships. If you need to borrow some decorations, if you need to borrow to use a caterer, book a caterer. So you've always kind of got those connections, or just anybody to come even help you with the murder mystery dinner. You can have volunteers, teen volunteers. So it's kind of just a big community involvement altogether. So why? And here's kind of like what we was telling earlier, the entertainment. Really, the way nowadays, and as expensive the way things are, it's hard to go out on a date night or a girls' night out or anything for that matter without it costing an arm and a leg. And the way things is high now, it's kind of hard to do. Of course, people don't realize what libraries have to offer. And that's kind of the sad thing about it. When libraries have so much to offer, they don't realize, oh, the library might have this going on unless they see it. So it just kind of helps. But it's, it's, they can come do this and have a fun time, and it don't cost them a thing, just a gas to get to your library, and that's it. It brings you out of your comfort zone. You may be, like I said earlier, you may be shy. A person may be shy and like, oh, this ain't my type of thing. But once they get into it, it's a new experience for them, and they love it. So there's some people I thought when I've had sign up, like, I don't know about this. My husband or my wife signed me up for this, and they end up loving it after all. And I have one couple that did the very same thing, and now he's already asking me, when are we going to have another one? So it brings out something in people. But and like I said earlier, it's very versatile. They can be limited to all ages. It can be any size of group. The kits that I get, I'm not so creative, so I have to use, I buy kits for mine. And then I will talk about that later in the slides. But, you can do from 15 or even some smaller than that, really. Or you can go up to 100. So, it's very, very versatile with what you can do with these. And like I said earlier, community involvement, build those relationships with your local businesses. That is always important. You never know when you might need a helping hand. So when you build those partnerships, you kind of help them out, getting the word out for them, and of course, getting people into your building as well. Here's kind of like the principles we'll be talking about today on how to plan a murder mystery party. Of course, the planning is the most important thing. That's what takes the longest, is getting everything together. And then you've got the type of mysteries you might want. There is actually about 3 different kind of mysteries, or style of mysteries, I should say, you can do for these. Of course, your decorations, that kind of amps up the vibe of it. Your refreshments, if you want to do a dinner, or if you just want to do like light refreshments, like hors d'oeuvres, or, even like little dessert, something like that, or you can go on a full-fledged dinner. That's what I've always done. And then we'll kind of talk about the hosting part of the party, and of course the night of the event, the big event. Here's kind of like the little stages of planning. Of course, your first stage, it kind of select what type of mystery. You can either purchase a kit or create your own. If you have got that creative gene and can create your own mystery, you go right ahead. More power to you. I am glad you can do that, because I am nowhere near doing that. I'm not that creative on any of that kind of type of thing. So I always purchase my kits, and I will give you the website here after a while on where I get mine at, and they have got a ton of them on there. And kind of like the picture in the bottom, the early stages of planning, you're all excited, and it's, like gearing up for it. And then, of course, your next step is your theme. The ones I get mine from, you can do from holidays. You can just kind of do a general type. And then there are decades. So you can do different styles. One I'm going to do here in May is an 80s theme, an 80s prom. And it's a high school reunion that is coming or getting put together. And their theme is an 80s prom. So I'm hoping to do that one in May. And I'm hoping, if it's warmer weather, to do it outside, but we'll see. Of course, step 3 is your location. Now, like for us as a small library, we're very small, really, really small. We've only got a small community room that we do our programs in. So we have to there's a community center here right behind our library. And so it's got a big auditorium in it. So we use that. We book the room through our city hall that's right next to us. and we're able to use that. So I have to just to have the bigger space, and of course their tables and such. But if you've got the space, I know all libraries have the big, big rooms, program rooms and such. So that's amazing. I wish we had that ourselves. But anyway, if you need this enough space to work with to kind of space out. Staff always helps. I'm gonna tell you right now, one person can't do it all. If your library has done it one person, I don't know how in the world they've done it, because it is a lot to deal with. Especially if you serve food, it helps with staff to help serve food, and of course get people signed in as well, and of course what time that you want to do it at. But for like I said, for staff, I had about 2 to 3 help me normally. I sometimes have one, but I've had 2 as well, and it helps. They may help serve food, they might help clean up afterwards, and in that way you're not staying so late trying to pick up all by yourself. So it really, really helps. And I always, for time, of course, I always did mine after hours. If your library is open later, you could do it during library hours. I just kind of did it when not a whole lot of people are coming in the library, and so that helps. And that way you can just mainly focus on that, and there's no disruptions. And I did mine on a Friday nights. I've always done it on Friday nights. That way it's kind of the start of the weekend. A lot of people have stuff planned on Saturdays, and so I always do it on a Friday night. Is the way I have done mine. So we're going to get into the types of murder mystery games. Thank you, Miss Tricia. The kind that you can do is there's the dinner theater, they call it. There's a turn-based, and then there's an interactive kind. Personally, I've always done the interactive for my adults. That's the ones that my kids go by, that kind of style, and I like it, and it's easy to me. Now my teens, I always done the turn-based. Now I went ahead and add the dinner theater just in case if anybody has done that or would even want to try it and is able to. So I kind of threw that one in there. But the dinner theater, what it is that if you can find staff or volunteers, or if you've even got a budget where you can hire actors to do it, they will act out your mystery. And then what you have is you've got your participants and they watch and solve it. There's some in Louisville that has these, the Dinner Detective Murder Mystery Show, and then the Whodunit Murder Mystery Theater. And I think my old Kentucky Train, they do a dinner train as well. And I know the Kentucky Castle has hosted some in the past, I've seen. So if you think that would fit your library more to do something like that, it'd be fun to sit and watch and to try it that way. I've just never I don't think I could find enough volunteers to do that, to act out. So that's why I have never went with this kind of mystery. The turn-based, these are just like the little box kits. They're little box games that you can buy at Target, Five Below, Amazon, about anywhere you can find them at. The bottom left, the unsolved case files, I bought that for my daughter one year. She liked it. It was kind of easy. It's more like for teens. I found it at Target, less than $20. It was not expensive at all. The one on the right, the Murder Mystery at Mardi Gras, that was one I found at Five Below, and it is a bigger mystery than the one on the left, and it has got the props in it and everything. I bought her actually the one called Murder at the Ski Mountain, and it's really neat. It's kind of like an interactive murder mystery, but it's also a turn-based, so you kind of find, it's kind of split into turns for everybody, and you find more about the background of each round. So, but it's very inexpensive. It's great for teens and tweens, and you don't have to really clean up a mess or anything. Really, for this one, you need to get them some snacks or like small desserts, whatever, and do it that way if you want to keep it small. But these are an easy way to go because everything comes in the box, and you ain't got to worry about it. The interactive, This is the one that I do each time. It is a headache sometimes, but it's worth it. I should say that. It's just mind-boggling. But they receive. What I do is I create a flyer, and it has everything on it, and they receive their character information whenever they sign up, or about a day. Well, I should say a day or two after they sign up. That way, you know who you've got, and they can start getting prepared for that mystery. You have objectives to do during that. It may, on their clue cards, for this one, you get 3 clue cards. There's 3 rounds and 3 clue cards. The first one will tell you they'll tell you to go mingle. You know, they'll may tell you to go tell somebody this. You know, if there's a joke, one's supposed to be a comedian, should say. They say, go tell a joke to this character. And so they'll have to go do that. And that just kind of helps with the interaction. But the clue cards will tell you, you know, what to do, or kind of what to do, you know, the main points of what to do, I should say that, and things you need to say, just to kind of get the clues out. My only problem with this, is some people didn't want to do that. So, and they wouldn't interact. And they would come up to me and say, you know, I can't get this one to so-and-so because they really won't tell me nothing. So that's the only problem. So I would have to make an announcement on this, being like, okay, you know, whatever your clue card says, you need to do this. So that way it just kind of runs the program smoothly. But it's very, very easy to do. This one has been the funnest I've ever had. As you can see, some of the pictures at the bottom. The bottom right is the very first one I done. And then I've got the luau on the left, and I can't remember, the Halloween is in the middle. And that one was my big turnout. So that was before he's all getting started. Everybody's reading their clue cards, and then they get up and they start mingling. Now here's the online. Like I said before, I did the kits, and I got them online, and you just download them to a file, and you can print however your heart's desire, many copies as you need. And here is when I was doing some digging on which website to go with. These are a couple of websites that I looked into. There's Night of Mystery and the playingwithmurder.com. They was okay, but they did not have much to do on those. They didn't have much to pick from, so I didn't really care for them. The masterofmystery.com, they didn't have much of a variety as well. Now, they did have for small to large groups, and they were inexpensive, but they didn't have them by ages either. And so that's what I kind of didn't like, because I wanted something by ages, because I didn't want to get an adult one with adult content or something like that maybe I wouldn't want to have for my teens. So that's kind of the reason for that one. But if you see one on there you like, you know, it may work better for you. Now, the one I use all the time is mymysteryparty.com. This website is my go-to. They have any kind of mystery party you want, a variety of themes. It's themes out of, I don't know, it's just crazy how many they've got. And it's for different ages. I've actually got a slide on here that will tell on what you can look for. You can actually turn it out the way, you know, if you're wanting it just for teens, or if you want for a certain number of people. If you want all female, all male, you can. It's crazy what you can do with their website. But they've got it for small to large groups, and like I said earlier, it is very diversified. You can do a lot with theirs. Here is the ones that I have done. I've done 4 so far. The Murderer Luau I've actually done twice, so done it more than 4 times. But the Till Death Do We Part, the very first one I did, that was the Valentine's date night. It turned out really well. I was really surprised on how well it went. But of course, I I did have to do some tweaking on things. So I did get a lot of feedback from people. That way I knew what to do for my next one. I did for the summer theme. That was the year I think we may have done oceans, I think, for summer reading. So I did a luau party, and I did 2 of those because I had such a high demand, especially for the Valentine's Day one, because I did this all in the same year, or those 2 I did. So I had a waiting list for the Valentine's one. So the ones for those, I went ahead and called for the summer theme. And then that way, if they really wanted to join in, they could. And then I went ahead and so I split one into June and July. And that way they wouldn't be back to back. Then I went ahead I wanted to do a Halloween. That was the funnest one I have done so far. It was hilarious. But it's a costume ball, and for them, I let them just dress as whatever they wanted to be for Halloween. The characters had certain things, what they wanted them to, to dress like, but I went and told them, whatever you want to get to dress up for Halloween, you can do it. And then back in May of last year, I went ahead, it was my last one, and I did the Derby. And it went over really quite well. They had the big hats. That one was really neat, how people went all out, all dressed up, like you would be going to the Derby. I went ahead and wanted to do the Deadly Derby because since it was the 50th anniversary or 150th, whatever it was. Anyway, the anniversary for the Derby, and I wanted to go ahead and do that theme this year. I purchased the main game, and each game does not have the same amount of people. One may have 10, one may have 7. That's the thing about it. You don't ever know. But you can buy, some of these do have expansion packs, so you will have other characters. Now, like I said, some of them range from maybe 15, some range to 100. Even with the expansion packs, I got maybe about 30 people, say. Well, some of them has expanding characters. So you can have, like if there is a FBI agent, you can have about 20 agents that go with that FBI agent. They may not have an acting part per se, but they can still go around and make up their own questions and such. So it depends on how big you really want your party to be. I've not had more than, but I'd say between 30 and 35 people. Normally it's around 20 to 25. So, the bigger it gets, the more crazier it gets. So if you really wanted to split it up in a couple of games, you can. And so that's the only thing about that is, you have to really judge on what you want to do. Here's kind of what the website looks like for the My Mystery Party. It's very simple, but you can break it down what way you want. But like at the top, you can adjust if you want for an adult thing or teens or kids. If you want to do a virtual, they've got a non-murder one. And if you want to catch a killer, so they've got on different categories of the kind that you would like. They have also got party packs that you can buy, and it comes with, I think, the props and stuff. Game extras like for decorations. And so I've never bought anything like that. I just buy the kit. They can also help you choose a mystery, and you can email them and they can help you decide which one you like. But you can buy season, family, decade, non-murder, murder games. It's just unreal on how you can really diversify their parties are that you can do. Here are just a few of now this ain't even a skim off the water of these mysteries that they have, but there's one, the Sin City Slayer. I thought that'd always be neat to do, the Vegas, party. Then they've got the Christmas, they got the Great Gatsby. Actually, that's how I got the idea of a murder mystery party, is I seen one library do the Great Gatsby theme. And so I thought, oh, that would be so much fun to have at our library, and that's what got me started in it. But here is just a few of them. It's not a whole lot. And then, of course, you can always go by the level of difficulty as well. There's some that are very hard to solve, and then there's some that aren't. So that kind of tells us well. And on this, it kind of does show the pricing. It's not a whole lot. About $45 to $50 is what I've mostly have been spending on for just the game. Now it is some a little bit more because the expansion packs are about $20 to $30 more. So it depends on if you need an expansion pack or not. So you definitely don't want to plan on unless you make your own, then it don't cost you a thing. But if you want to purchase a kit, that's the only thing about it. Here's another thing when you look up if you see a mystery you like, I always look this up to see how many characters. Of course, this one has 18 in them. It'll always tell the name and the occupation of the character. It gives a brief bio about them, and it gives you a costume suggestion. And so that one has always, that helps a lot. And what I do is I send that to people as well. It also gives you details about the game. It'll give you dinner ideas. And so it's very, very easy to do, to plan. So like this kit, it'll tell you, you can print out a whole packet of this stuff, but it gives you the host instructions for your guests. It gives you the clue cards. You can actually do a pre-game round, which I've never done with it. And that's just where all the contestants can contact one another, and they have to send them something in the mail, like this person sends this person a letter, but it's just kind of to get the amp going for the game. But I never have done that. You can do a checklist. It does have a free invitation that you can type up. I never use it. I've always made my own in Canva or in Publisher, and that's the way I send out to people. It does have its own investigation sheets, name tags. It develops the victim sign. It also gives you a menu suggestion and recipes that kind of go along with the game, which also helps. But these kits are helpful as all get out to help you plan. So it's a headache, but it also helps a lot. Here's like the invitations that I have done. You just what I've done is I put, of course, the title of the murder mystery, your date, time, location, put your character, the character's profession, the description of them, and if I can, I try to put the synopsis on. That way it kind of tells what's going on. So-and-so's planning, it's like so-and-so's planning a party, and he's inviting all their guests. And then of course I put the suggested attire if they want to do that. Most of the time they do. The Halloween one, I just told them to, a Halloween costume. I just told, it's whatever you would like. Don't have to be nothing in particular. And so, but I either emailed this or texted it to them, not unless I wanted to pick it up. Excuse me. At the library. I've had some coming from other counties, so they just asked if I either emailed it or texted it to them, and they were fine with that. And so that really helped out a lot, and I didn't have to really worry about it. And I really sent this out a month ahead of time, and then that way they could prepare for that night, if they ordered anything, and they would have time to get in for their costumes. Decorations, it don't have to be nothing extravagant. Of course, I'm a cheap person. I like to save money any way I can. I make whatever I can, and reuse anything I can. So I'm just, it may be a bad thing, but it's just the way I am, I guess. But you can order stuff on Amazon. I ordered like the full curtains. Those are cheap. I've used those for backdrops for our Grinch and Bluey and stuff like that as well. So the full curtains are cheap. You can get them even at Walmart. You don't have to get them on Amazon. But you can buy a big pack on there, so that's why I get them off of there. But you can get them really at any party store. Dollar Tree. I had ordered a balloon arch, and I had used it several times for this, as well as other programs that we have had here. So a balloon arch can come in handy. You can ask local businesses for rentals if you want to go, to help with that, if you've got a budget for that. And of course, if you've got a lot of friends and family that can help throw in something, that's perfect. When I was talking about saving money, in the bottom picture, the candles is made out of pool noodles. And I have painted them, and I have these little tea light candles left over from a program. So you just cut out a hole and put them in there, and then where it looks like it's melted, that's just hot glue. So, and then the Dollar Tree is where I got the pumpkins that's around them. So I can use that for any time, really. So that came in handy. We had some pool noodles left over in another program, and I just cut them up and made candles out of them. And of course, the skeletons, they're mine. That's what I put out in my yard every Halloween. And so it's just something I had around the house. Some Halloween decorations I brought from home. So I go cheap when I can. I actually had a palm tree in my luau that my mom has, so I used it. She had Halloween decor from a birthday party from years ago that I used for that one. And then of course the balloon arch we've used. You can actually rent, if you really didn't want to do the balloon arch, you can actually, we've got a local business here where she does the balloon arches for birthdays and such. You can use that if you really wanted to, or she's got them green wood backdrops. And tablecloths if you really wanted to use that. And if you have the budget to do it. But for me, I just went with cheap plastic tablecloths. So that's just me. But here's just some pictures that I had. The first two are the luau. I did green, pink, I think, and blue tablecloths. I did pineapples. Kroger had their pineapples for $5. So, of course, I loaded up on a couple of pineapples. And that night we gave them away. Whoever's sitting at that table, whoever grabs the first pineapple, it's yours. So, and then I had some flowers and such around it to make it pretty. The Derby dinner, we had the two big horses there. I did buy a green backdrop to hang up, and I just made the flowers out of, I know it's kind of hard to tell in the picture, but I made the flowers out of cardstock, the roses really. And then the two horses cardboard, we had those for a previous summer reading. For some reason, we had two big old horses, so I thought, oh, those will be perfect. Then there's the balloon arch. It's nothing fancy, but it works, so I was pretty tickled with it. And of course, the bottom, you can see the blue foil curtain. Those work amazing. I mean, you can use them as a backdrop for anything. And then there's my mom's palm tree that I used. And then I made a dead dummy out of, I think, water bottles and jugs and stuff, and wrapped them up in plastic or in trash bags, so to make it look like a murder had happened. So anything you could find or borrow, it works. Trust me, you can make it look nice just by that. Here is refreshments. I have done it several different ways. I have either done as local caterers or I've done it myself. It will be your biggest expense, or what has been for me rather, because I do a full-on dinner. I want them to have a meal and enjoy themselves, and so I try to play it with that. I have done a taco bar. I've done barbecue. The Derby dinner, I had baked a ham. But kind of like a tip I put here, if it's great food, they will eat it. They don't worry about it being fancy. They're just happy that they get a meal and a game to play. So don't feel bad over anything. Now, the local caterers, it is less of a hassle. It's more of an expense, and finding availability, if they're back to, especially the time of year that you may do it in. And so, but it is less of a hassle. The only thing is, of course, you've got your cleanup, but other than that, you got to worry about it as long as they bring it. That's another thing, as long as they bring it to you on time. Now, I've done it myself. Of course, you don't have to worry about the caterer canceling. And then, like I said before, kits give you the meal ideas, or Pinterest is a big help. You can find a bunch of recipes on Pinterest or cookbooks in your library. So you can always use those. And then, of course, talk about those at night. I got this recipe in this book. It's at your library. Kind of put that plug in there. And of course, it's time consuming. I really, for that taco bar, it was easy, but it took all day because then you're going back and forth, making sure everything's okay at wherever you're doing, decorating and everything at, and getting all that set up, and then trying to get your food and everything ready for that. So it is, and of course, worried about proportions as well. You want to make sure you got enough for everybody. With a caterer, they kind of know. You can give them a number and they kind of know how much to make to plan for. For me, with that taco bar, I was in a tizzy because I didn't know if I was making enough for everybody or not. But you just have to kind of wing it, really. Drinks, I kept it simple. I had sweet tea, lemonade. I made punch I made a mint julep punch for the Derby one, and then a bottle of water. That was it. I kept it simple. I didn't do soft drinks because people drink different kinds, and I didn't want to worry about it. I also had desserts as well. I made cupcakes. I've made bundt cakes. I did a strawberries in the snow dessert. My mom makes it all the time, and so I made that, but I made it in like little cup proportions, and that way they can just take the cup and go instead of scooping it, getting it out of the pan and everything. So I made little individual cups of that. So super, super easy. The food, for barbecue, one meat, 2 or 3 sides, and maybe a bread, and that's it. And for the taco night, the taco bar, I did. I did do 2 meats. I did the ground beef and the shredded chicken. For that, get you a rotisserie chicken at Kroger or Walmart and shred it up, and boom, there you go. You ain't got to worry about cooking chicken. But just like beans, I didn't make up my own Mexicorn. My husband makes all the time. You don't have to worry about it. And then make you some cheese dip and just have all the fixings, and that's it. Boom, you're done. You ain't got to worry about it. And so it kind of helps. Hosting, this is the fun part because you get to watch it. And everybody comes for you for questions, of course. So you can either be a part of the game or just be the host. I have never joined in on the game. I've always been scared to because I don't know if I can handle doing both. I've got a one-track mind, really, and I've got to focus on one thing and another. I wouldn't be able to do both. But hosting is just you're running it into a timely manner, making sure everything runs smoothly, moving on to each section of the game. Of course, if you're playing host and character, it could equal chaos because you're trying to play somebody, but also trying to move the game on into the next clue card or the next section of the game. Of course, the best part of it is watching the participants figure out the mystery because they're just kind of wandering around. Sometimes they'll come to you about it. And the only thing is, this is the part, like I said, encourage participants. It's okay to act the part, but but they don't feel comfortable with. They really will strive to be that person. Now there's some people, they just sit there like not on the logs and it's hard for the other people to get any information that they need to help solve their mysteries. That's the only bad part about it. And so really, really push people like, okay, we got to get up and do this. That way everybody can play their part and the game will go smoothly. And it provides a bigger time, a whole lot more fun time for people. The top pictures are from our derby, where we was dressed up in our derby attire. So as you can see, the big hats, the one with the big pink hat, it was humongous. But it was really neat to see her come in. But anyway, but you're there for questions, and it's stressful, but it's really worth it in the beginning. So it's not that hard, really. The day and night of your event. Make sure everything is in order, your decor. If you can decorate the night before, do it. It helps a whole lot, and it takes stress off your shoulders so bad. So decorate anything you can put out, your supplies, put out the night before. Of course, not your food, but anyway. And so that helps. Attendees, When they come in, they sign in and get their name tags, announce your game rules, and pass out your clue cards. Your game begins. Now, before the game starts, what I do is I will go through the whole roster of the character names, and I let the person either wave, stand up, they can say something if they want to, and, play their part, I should say. And that way people will know, okay, this name is linked to that person. So that helps. So make sure you do that if you're going to do these games. Go through your roster first and then let everybody kind of wave or whatever, just to introduce themselves, I should say. But your game begins. I normally stop after round 1, and that just for your dinner or your refreshments. Now you can do party games during the break just to help keep the night alive. The kit that I used, my mystery party, they have the breakout games, they call them, that you can do in between times. And that just kind of helps instead of just sitting there bored to death while other people are eating. If you've already got done, you can do these. For the luau, I did a hula hoop contest. So you can do, and then I think for the Halloween, they're actually the ones up top, the clown that's sitting there on the floor next to me, and another character, I can't remember which one it is. They started throwing some of the pumpkins from the table, the decoration, little pumpkins, throwing at one another and acting like they were getting into it. So, which they were family anyway that came together. So they just kind of liven it up a little bit. So if you can get those kind of people, that works too. And then, of course, I let in between times, especially during the break, if they want to take pictures in front of the backdrop, they can with their group. And at the very end, I always get a group picture of everybody just to show, this is what we have done. We can do this again, and then just kind of show off of what we've done in the past. And so, and of course, what your library has to offer as well. Here's some more pictures. This was a couple from my very first one there on the left. They were a hoot because he's like one that was like, I got dragged here, but he ended up really embracing it. The group up top, the Halloween one, that was, they were interesting. They are a family of some sisters and then their children and, grandchildren or nieces really too as well. But anyway, they go to Lexington every year for a girls' weekend. They was going to go do a murder mystery for a while they were up there. One of them had a baby, and the murder mystery dinner place would not let them in because she had a child. And they've always wanted to do one together. So it kind of bummed them out, and they didn't get to go do it. Anyway, they heard about mine, and they decided to come do it. And they were all excited, and they had the best time. But one of them had told me that story that they've been wanting to do one, and when they found out the library was hosting one, they got all excited. They were a hoot and a half, especially the clown. She really livened it up. Everybody was laughing and carrying on. The very bottom one was my very first victim. He was another one that was like, oh my goodness, my wife dragged me into this. But he actually did really good. He got really into it and excited, and he's actually the victim. Now, I will tell you this. If you're hosting one, I never read the whole thing. I don't want to read the last clue cards because I want to be as surprised as everybody else. So I do not even know who the victim is. I don't even know who the murderer is. Or I try not to because I want to know for sure. I kind of want to be as much a surprise as it is. It's just kind of a thing for me it's just fun to find out myself. Now, the bottom, the woman in the green shirt, she has been coming to my past two. Her and her sister, they come from a county over, and they would just like to find something to do together. A sister, something different. So they been coming to my murder mystery parties, and she's been a hoot and a half. And she was my victim this time, and she's very, very dramatic about it, and it was hilarious. And she would just start popping off like screaming like she was dying. And of course, that was the scene that she was trying to do anyway. One other girl I had that was the victim, she actually just fell on the floor, like she just passed out, or it's what it looked like it's supposed to have happened. So, you may have those people that will embrace it, and it is just fun to watch, and everybody gets a kick out of it. But here's just some top tips to consider. How frequent do you want it? I always do them. I try to do mine maybe quarterly. You don't want to do them too often, or I don't think that's just for me from in my town, because I don't want them to get burnt out on it. I want to get them excited about it if we have another one. Budget. Do you want to, if you had the budget to pay for it all, that's fine. Do you want to charge a fee or not? I have charged a fee. The first one I didn't, but I went ahead and charged one the past couple of times, $5, $10, just to kind of help pay for, your food and such. And I've had everybody tell me that's not even enough. You're getting a meal and you're getting to play this game, and this ain't even, you wouldn't get this out anywhere else. Normally at those other places they're like $50, if you go somewhere else. So they're very okay with that. Stay organized. It's very important. Staff, it takes manpower. It takes a lot of people to help you. Do not be afraid to ask to help, because you will need it. Send out reminders. If you've got if you got the Remind app or something in that nature, that always helps. If not, text them or send an email or even call. It's a week away. Do you have any questions? Are you still good to go? That way, if you need to replace a character or not. And then, of course, like I said before, characters, introduce them in the beginning. That way people can look at that name and put a face to it, and they don't have to worry about it. My future murders I would like to do, like I said, I've got one that I'm going to try to do in May, the high school reunion, the 80s theme prom. So I'm very excited over that one. I'm hoping I can do it outside. I would love to do it outside and have lights around and just kind of make it a little neat little prom setting. October, I would like to do a Halloween one sometime, a masquerade party. That'd be easy to do. I like to do murder mysteries where people don't have to go buy a lot of, they may have something at home that they can use as their costumes. And then I would also like to do an ugly sweater party. The only thing is in December, it's kind of hard because everybody's busy. I know that's one of our slow months for us because everybody's got doing the holiday dinners, and such, and got everything going on, and it is very hard to do. So, but it's neat. It's worth a try. Is there any questions for me? Here's my contact info if you want to ask me about it. It's a lot, I know, and I may have talked a mile a minute. And so, but they are fun to do. They are worth it. It is something different. It's just not the same old craft or health or anything for that matter, really, program that you might have at your library. It is something interactive for them, for an adult or even a teen to do. I've always had good turnouts, and I don't think I've not had a bad one yet. So, like I said, they are stressful, but they are totally worth it. So, but if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to call me, email me, and I will get, anything that you might need. But if anybody has any questions, I don't mind to answer them for you. But I appreciate you all joining with me today, and hope this webinar helps you for your future programs.
Yes, thank you so much, Kayla. And as people are thinking about what questions they may want to add in the chat, and just a question for the group as well that's here, if anyone has created their own murder mystery or found success with anything, please add that to the chat as well. But I wanted to ask you, and you may have mentioned it, but I don't remember how long they usually last. I know it could vary depending on how
It,
much you do during the breaks or how intricate
yes.
they are, but like, is it like a couple hours or how long do they typically last?
Mine normally lasts about a couple of hours, for the adult ones anyway, because I do the meal. Um, like for the first round, I'll do maybe 20 to 30 minutes for the first round, if even that really. And then we'll stop for a meal for about 45 minutes or so. And then we'll start into round two, which may be about 20, 25 minutes, if even that. And then round three. So, and it's about, so it equals up to about an hour, maybe 2 hour, well, at least 2 hours, if not two and a half most of the time. But normally they'll last 2 hours. So that's something to plan for as well when you schedule a time, because I didn't always plan mine. I normally started mine about 30 minutes to an hour after we closed the library down. So that way it ain't so late for people to, that it gives people enough time to get home, get ready after work, and also get there as well. But it's not so late where they're driving home really late at night either. So, 'cause I know some people don't like to drive at night, but
Hmm. How do you manage the different size groups, or what's your favorite size? Like, I know you said a couple of them have been popular and you had to schedule like a second offering
mhm,
of it. What's your
mhm.
ideal size? Like, let's cap it at this amount.
For us, for as small as we are and space wise, I would almost, is less, to be less stressful, I should say that. I would almost cap it out at 30, if not even 25 really, because it is a lot to do with. You've got a lot of people in a small set. Well, the auditorium over there is huge. Don't get me wrong on that. But when you get that many people in, it's hard to talk to everybody in that program, I should say. When if they got to meet everybody and they're going to go somewhere, like if they're having to go meet everybody in this one clue, the first round, they got to meet everybody that they're, within that party just to kind of get to know that person. So the bigger the party, the more you're going to have to talk to people and try to get all that information in within a certain amount of time. So it makes it hard for that. So the bigger the group you have, the more time it's going to have to take. So that's the only thing. I would almost, about 25 people, 30 at max is
Hmm.
what is more comfortable with.
Hmm. And did you say that you've done a teen one and like about how many people came to that one and
I,
tell us a little bit
I
more
have,
about how that went?
well, I did the teen and I did the box one, like the one with the Mardi Gras
Hmm.
picture on, except mine was the ski mountain.
Hmm.
I didn't do many of that one, which those teens wise, and that's right now, that's our problem right now is getting teens in our library. I actually go to the middle school and do a club day there, and I have a big turnout there, but I don't have many teens coming within the library, and that's why I thought I would try this. But around the time that I had it, school was out. They were closed down because I had it like last week. Supposed to have been last Friday, no, not last Friday, week before that. Anyway, um, and I didn't have quite of a turnout. But I think it was because kids were out of school, and because that's when they were on break. And so normally a lot of them will come right after school. They either ride the bus or they walk here. And I think that was a reason why, because there was so much, where we're in the city part, a lot of them in the county couldn't get here. And so I'm not having a good turnout right now. I've only done it the one time with the teens. Um, but I know some that are wanting to, but it's a matter of getting them here. So that's where I've got to work on how to get my teens in the library.
Yeah. I know sometimes those programming things, it just takes time to, you know, build it up. And it's a great, it sounds like just
Yes.
a wonderful thing. And I'm sure we're
Yes.
all sitting here wishing we could attend your parties and programs.
Yeah.
If anybody
Yes.
has anything they want to ask Kayla or add to the chat, you're welcome to do that. Or please keep her contact information here that's on screen if you want to reach out to her after the webinar. If you need to kind of process some of the things that she suggested and brainstorm a little bit and contact her back, I know she's happy to help with that. In the meantime, while you're thinking if there's anything else that you want to add into the chat, I'll just go ahead and share a couple of things about the webinar today. Today's webinar was recorded and will be available next week as an archived webinar. We encourage everyone to please complete the survey for the webinar today, and I'll include that in the chat as well. It's available in Blackboard on the screen when you exit the webinar. Also, today's handouts are available on that screen as well if you would like the handout from today. Um, Certificates of attendance will be available in your learner dashboard within a week of this webinar. And we thank Kayla for giving this wonderful presentation as well as everyone who attended today. I will stop the recording. We have just